Yeah. A very good who are connecting through the Zoom meeting, those who could not come personally to SSN, but I know there are large number of students who are connected, even across other university students also have connected today for this particular event. And I would like to extend hearty welcome to all the students, and most important, I would like to extend hearty welcome to Professor Sriram, who has come all the way from Drexel University. And as you are all aware, SSN and Drexel University, we have a very long-standing relationship. And Dr. Sriram is one of the best well-wishers of SSN, not only SSN College of Engineering, but also Shivnadar University, Chennai, and all of us. And he is also a very senior professor in Drexel University, and he has, besides, he has a lot of technical credentials, which I don't want to talk much about because I know you are all impatient to hear his presentation rather than my introduction. But to cut it short, I want to tell you that what I appreciate is, besides giving the best of the technical education to the student through the Drexel University, he is also nurturing the students. And what you will learn in this is how you will learn and widen your horizon of the knowledge in Drexel University, number one. Number two, how you can do it at a very reasonable budget through the co-op options and all other options which will enable you to earn something while you learn. And last but not the least, I'm sure all of you would be interested in paving the way for building your career through the education which you receive at Drexel University. So even he will throw light on that, how Drexel helps you in the placement process. So with this, what we'll do is to first go through his presentation. I would request all the students to go through the presentation. And then we want today, especially, we have called it an interactive session, because what we would appreciate is after the presentation, the floor is yours. You can ask, you might be having n number of doubts, like what would be the finance, how do I get my visa, how do I do this? And a few of you might have some more doubts than what I mentioned just now. So the floor will be yours, and Professor Sriram would be happy to answer all your queries. And if required, if anyone has any questions on what they will do in the first semester at SSN, we all, Dr. Kavita Madam is there, Dr. Punalini Madam is there, all HODs are here, and plus myself, we will all be very happy to answer your questions. Okay, with this, I would like to hand over to Professor Sriram to you,
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Dr. Alba. Good morning. Thank you. Good morning to all the attendees on Zoom as well. Can the Zoom attendees hear me? Is there anybody on Zoom? Yes, okay. Can the Zoom attendees hear me? Can you say yes or no, please?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Clearly.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Can you also see my screen on Zoom?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. So good morning, all of you. Thanks to Dr. Alba, Dr. Kavita, Dr. Mrinalini, Dr. Saranya, Dr. Divya, all the SSN administrators, faculty for hosting me again. This is my third trip to India this year and third trip to SSN this year as well. I love coming to SSN. It's such a beautiful campus. The people are so hospitable. I really enjoy being here. So thanks again. We've had a wonderful experience with SSN students for many, many years. I've had SSN students even before direct pathway program was initiated. Even About 12 years ago, I had a student from SSN who completed a master's from my lab at Drexel University. And now she has been working in Philadelphia for more than 10 years. And most recently, two SSN students worked in my lab from January of this year until August of this year. And they have also got co-op. So we'll talk more about it. So my name is Dr. Sriram Balasubramanian. I'm an associate professor in the School of Biomedical Engineering at Drexel. I also wear an administrative hat. I am the faculty director for India partnerships for Drexel Global. So I manage all the academic research, student exchange, faculty exchange, and other mobility programs for Drexel with several institutions in India. So SSN is one of our preferred partners for academic partnership and research partnership. So let me quickly walk you through Drexel. I have a few slides to give you an overview of Drexel. So most of you that do not know about Drexel will learn more about Drexel. So Drexel is a comprehensive research university that was founded in 1891. So it's over 130 plus years old. Drexel was founded by Anthony J. Drexel, who was a financier. So he was a banker in the late 1800s. So he's the one that started JP Morgan Bank that you know of as Morgan Bank now. It is called the Drexel Morgan Bank. So when JP Morgan's son wanted to do something, Drexel was friends with JP Morgan, the senior, and he brought JP Morgan from England to the US, helped him start a bank. And then once Morgan was able enough to carry it on himself, he handed the bank to him and said, you carry it on. And that's the JP Morgan Bank that you know of now. So Drexel has had initiations of many successful academic financial institutions. So Drexel was initiated with the idea of providing the workforce for the industrial age that America was getting into in the early 1900s. So that was the goal. So the collaboration and the focus was always on academic and industry partnerships. So Drexel, because of that focus, started something called the Cooperative Education Program, otherwise known as the Co-op program, which is an experiential learning program where students work for 6 months in a year in industry and work and study for 6 months in the college, in the university. And they do it for 3 consecutive years when they are an undergraduate student. So on an average, Drexel students work for about 1.5 years during their undergraduate degree. And that program is more than 105 years old. So we have the oldest and the largest co-op program in the country. Over 1,900 employers have signed contracts with Drexel for the past several decades, and they recruit Drexel students for co-op positions. About 8,000 co-op positions or jobs are posted every year that are only for Drexel students. So this is a portal that Drexel manages in agreement with all these employers. So these are big corporations, small businesses, government, academic institutions, hospitals, nonprofits, and so on. So you get a sense of the co-op program. Experiential learning is kind of the focus and the heart of Drexel. About 6 years ago, we created the co-op program for our graduate students as well. So we realized that undergraduate students obviously have benefited from it for many, many decades. So the graduate students would also benefit from getting work experience. So many of our graduate students, when I say graduate, I mean students coming there for masters to Drexel. So in the US, it's called undergraduate degree, which is the bachelor's degree, and the graduate degree, which is a master's degree, and then you have your doctoral degree, which is a PhD. So the graduate co-op started about 6 years ago, just before COVID. And then after COVID, there was a little bit of a slowdown with the co-op because everything was remote. And for the past 2 years, we have regained our grasp on the co-op, the graduate co-op, and it's been very successful. Drexel Biomed College of Engineering for the Machine Learning Engineering program, Drexel College of Computing and Informatics are the 3 schools that do a graduate co-op, but all the other schools do an undergraduate co-op. So Drexel is also ranked as an R1 institution. Fewer than 40 universities, private universities in the US have the Research 1 designation, which is the highest research designation awarded by Carnegie Mellon has this ranking. It's called the R1 Carnegie ranking. So we are designated as an R1 institution. We have about 22,000 students. It's a very urban campus. It's a beautiful campus. So we are very contiguous with the University of Pennsylvania, which is also in the heart of Philadelphia. So we are in the midst of University City, very vibrant. One of the first capitals of the United States is Philadelphia, which is about 120 miles west of New York City and about 120 miles north of Washington, D.C. So we are close to Washington, D.C. and New York City. So if you know the geography, we are on the East Coast, and we are the top, we are the sixth largest city in the United States. So Philadelphia is where the birthplace of democracy happened. The Declaration of Independence was signed in Philadelphia. The Constitution was signed in Philadelphia. Philadelphia was the first US capital before Washington, D.C. was made the capital. So a little bit of a history lesson here. So Philadelphia, you will see many historic monuments, historic buildings. So it's a beautiful city, and we are right in the middle of Philadelphia. It's an urban campus. So that's called the Liberty Bell. It's not as big as it looks on the photo. I was quite.
It's actually big. I've seen it. It's not very small.
Oh yeah, you're too kind. I didn't have that impression when I saw it. I was not as impressed. I was expecting to see something this big, and I'm like, this one? So, it is pretty small. It's about this big. So there's a crack in that bell. I think that is what draws people. It's very unique, right? So you look at something, that's the bell. If you keep it among 100 other bells, you can pick it out. So that's the Liberty Bell. So there are many historic things, and all of you, you're all young enough, so you may not know this. You all heard about the Rambo statue, right? So the boxer Rambo is kind of holding his hands up. That is in the steps of Philadelphia. So the movie was shot in Philadelphia. The Rambo statue is in the steps of the Museum of Art in Philadelphia, and the steps are all there. Every visitor that comes there runs up and down the stairs and takes picture with Rambo. Okay, and Kamala Harris performed or had a concert last week or 2 weeks ago in the steps of the Museum of Art, in the Art Museum. All right, so that is all about Philadelphia and Drexel. I talked about experiential learning. The co-op program, the success of the co-op program is that 97% of all students who are in the co-op program get a co-op. And then on an average, they get paid between $20,000 to $24,000, depending on the choice of your discipline. Typically engineering programs, biomedical engineering programs, you can get paid up to $24,000. It's a 6-month work experience. Unlike an internship, which is typically shorter, 3 months or so, the co-op program is for 6 months. And you can get on an average close to $4,000 a month. You get paid while you're working. You're still a student. It's not a full-time job, but it's a co-op position, which is full-time. You're still on F1 visa, but you get paid. On an average, it's about $20,000 to $24,000. Upon graduation, 50% of the students who do a co-op get a full-time position offer from the co-op employer. Okay, so that has been a statistic that's been quite constant over the many, many decades that we've run co-op. And also 92% or 95% of our students get placed within a year of graduation with a full-time job. And the average salary is, for a master's degree, it's about $88,000 for a full-time job when you start your job, which is pretty good, which is a significant amount of money that you can earn right after graduation. So this one shows you some of the credentials for Drexel. So we are ranked #1 for being the most innovative. A university in our size, we are very productive in terms of publications, patents, collaborations with industry, funding, and so on. So that those experiences, you will have an opportunity to engage in those experiences. If you're interested in research, beyond the classroom, you can work in research labs and also gain a research skill set in addition to learning coursework and working in co-op. So those opportunities are available as well. These are some of the absolutely remarkable investments that are happening in Philadelphia. Over $4.5 billion of investments are going on. You see all the bullet points on the left. So these are actually buildings, and the pictures that are shown on the right. These are buildings that are being built as we speak. Some are already open for business. Some are in the process of groundbreaking. Some are in the process of opening the building. So all these buildings and investments are in the field of technology, innovation, biomedical engineering, cell and gene therapy, advanced therapeutics, and so on. So Philadelphia is otherwise known as the Silicon Valley. You've heard of the Silicon Valley, right? Which is in California. So this is the human, like the biological cell. So it's a Silicon Valley. So the pharmaceutical industry, medical device industry, advanced therapeutics, cell and gene therapy, immune engineering, all these areas have come together, and they have really made a lot of impact and innovation in advanced therapeutics. So that has made Philadelphia kind of the epicenter for all this innovative work. So you'll be very impressed. We have the largest, it's called the science labs in the Northeast corridor of the United States, being built in Philadelphia on Drexel campus. It's going to house about 300 companies and research labs. So the partnership exceeds beyond research. They're also going to provide employment and co-op opportunities for our students. So we see a very grand future for Philadelphia in the near term. In the next 2 to 3 years, when all these go live, it will be quite impressive what it brings into the economy, and Philadelphia will be kind of the hub for medical device and cell and gene therapy and innovation like that. Spark Therapeutics, I think it is on the list here, isn't it? The second bullet point. So this is a startup that started at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia about 13 years ago. Very soon, less than 7 years from when they were started, they had their first cell and gene therapy drug that was approved by the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration. This is the first gene therapy that was approved. It was for a condition called Leber's congenital amaurosis. It was a type of a rod cone dystrophy. It's a form of blindness that starts really early in children. And the name of the gene therapy was called Luxturna. It was the first gene therapy in the world that was approved by the US Food and Drug Administration. And that was from Spark Therapeutics. Very soon after that success, Spark was acquired by Roche, a Swiss pharmaceutical company, for several $1 billion, right? So they went from a very small startup with a few dozen people working there to a multi-billion-dollar company in less than 10 years. So which was remarkable. And what do they decide to do? They decide to build their headquarters, manufacturing, and research building on Drexel campus. So they are right behind our biomedical engineering building. They are opening end of this year or early next year, I think. Parts of the operation will start next year. We have so much going on with Spark Therapeutics. Many of our students are already employed at Spark. They've been co-ops and become full-time employees. So we hope that those relationships are also long-standing. So this kind of gives you an idea of the ecosystem in Philadelphia and kind of gets you a little excited about the region. So Philadelphia is also importantly, although it's the 6th largest city with such a vibrant culture and ecosystem, it is the most affordable of the top 10 cities in the United States. It is cheaper than New York. The cost of living is much cheaper than Boston, much cheaper than Washington, D.C. So it's very affordable, and it's a very commuter-friendly city. So there is a fantastic public transportation network. If you lived in the city and you want to travel outside the city, you have buses, you have trolleys, which are called tram. So you have trolley system, you have the light rail system, you have the regional rail system. The Amtrak is the national rail system. We are right next to the second largest train station in the US. It's called the 30th Street Station. We are right next to it. It's the same block. I get off at the 30th Street Station every day, and I walk to my office, which is on 31st Street. So it's really, really convenient. And Philadelphia also has many waterways. So we are hoping that, so all this connectivity will really shoot Philadelphia to the next level in the next few years. All right, coming to what all of you are here for, the Direct Pathway Program. So this was a program that we started with SSN just before COVID, I think, right, Dr. Kavita? But because of COVID, there was a little bit of a hiatus. So we had paused it for a bit, and we really started back in full force last year. So this program was created with solely two things in mind. One is Drexel wanted to partner with an institution that is like-minded, that is similar in size, structure, and faculty strength, and also student quality. So we identified SSN as that partner. So SSN is our preferred partner. We've been working with Dr. Kavita's department and SSN since 2016. We've been sending students to SSN to spend a few weeks here. So we, through those collaborations and interactions, understood that SSN is almost the perfect match for us. And SSN also felt the same way. So it was really very symbiotic. So this program was created between equals. So that was one. The second goal of this program was to create access to high quality students to pursue a master's in the United States at a very affordable cost. And we have other benefits as well. But as you know, US education is expensive. It has been expensive. It will remain expensive. It costs on an average between $60,000 to $90,000 in the US to do a master's degree. A majority of these master's programs do not offer scholarships, do not offer discounts for tuition fees. So you pretty much have to pay the entire amount. So that is not very affordable for most students who are, highly qualified, but the affordability is going to be difficult. Secondly, if you even get into such a program and you pay so much money, when you graduate, your employability is also, it's not tested. So you have not found a job, you've not worked during your master's. So after you graduate, you are with the regular general pool of students who are looking for a full-time job. So we wanted to create a program that helps you in both those aspects, lower the cost of tuition and make it more affordable. And secondly, make you or the students more employable. And we came up with this program called the Direct Pathway MS program, where in partnering with a high quality institution like SSN that have really high quality education and students and faculty, we can select the students who are almost destined for success, get them into this program and make it affordable, and then also have a 6-month graduate co-op as part of this program. So they have work experience while they are finishing their master's degree. So when they finish their master's degree at a reasonable cost, they also have work experience and they're better positioned for a full-time job. So that was the goal of the program. And I think we have some evidence now that we ran a pilot program last year for the first time with SSN. We have a total of 8 students who finished their first semester at SSN last 2023, August through December. 2024, January, this year, 10 months, 11 months ago, they came to Drexel. They finished their academic coursework for the first 3 quarters for 9 months. And all 8 students are on co-op now. On an average, they are earning about $24,000. There is one student who's earning more than $30,000. So we have a good sense of how this program can benefit the students, and the students have been exceptional. They have excelled in the academic coursework at Drexel. So 2 of them worked in my lab, as I said earlier. They've excelled in research opportunities that were made available to them as well. So let me walk you through this program. So think of the Direct Pathway MS program no differently than a regular or a traditional MS program that you will apply to. I have a visual impairment, so I don't see too well. So I'm going to ask you to have a show of hands, and I'm going to then look at Dr. Kavita and then see how many people are raising their hands. So show of hands, how many of you are interested in pursuing a master's or an MS in the US? Yeah.
Count, right? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
It's a majority of them?
12, 13, 15.
Okay. So it's a majority of everybody that's here. You're here because you're interested in doing a master's in the US. Okay. So currently your path would be to apply for a master's program. You're probably thinking about applying now if you're a final year student, and you're applying to different colleges that you have reviewed and researched. You're sending your applications, recommendation letters, and so on. Almost now, you're active as we speak. You're doing those processes, and you will wait to hear from them by February or March of next year. Once you get an admission, then you make a decision on where to go. You get your funds ready for it. You go for your visa, and then you go to the US in August of next year. So that is the traditional MS route. I did that 25 years ago. You may be doing that now. So what the direct pathway program does is, in terms of timeline, it's identical. So you can start thinking about applying to the direct pathway program as you would to the regular program. We would review your applications. We would then, based on your credentials, if you are admitted, you will know by February or March. You will have to apply to both SSN and Drexel. And then you will be admitted to both programs. We have selected a handful of courses in consultation with SSN faculty and the Drexel curriculum. Those courses are going to be taught at SSN in the first semester. So instead of going to the US in August, you will start at SSN in August, complete 3 courses. If you get a GPA of 7.5 or better, those 3 courses will be transferred to Drexel when you come to Drexel in January. So the first semester, you pay the tuition fees to SSN and you complete the courses that we have identified and pre-selected and pre-approved to be completed at SSN. This is for both the MS direct pathway in biomedical engineering and also the direct pathway MS in machine learning engineering, which is through the computer science department here, which is through the College of Engineering at Drexel. So the timeline for application is very similar, so you don't have to think about it very differently. Also, what you need to apply is also very similar. For us, GRE is optional. It's not required. There is an English language requirement, either IELTS, TOEFL, or Duolingo. So those requirements have been posted on the SACE website. It tells you exactly what score you need or better in each of those. You need 2 recommendation letters. You need a cumulative CGPA for your undergraduate degree, 7.5 or higher. Okay, so these are the requirements. So if you meet these eligibility requirements, you should apply, should consider applying. And then if you are admitted, then you will have a choice of wanting to go and do this program. So how the program proceeds is you finish the first semester here, which is August through December. For the final year students, that would be August 2025 of next year until December 2025. You'll finish the first semester at SSN. You transfer to Drexel in January 2026 and complete, start taking courses. So Drexel operates on a 3-month quarter system. So we have 4 quarters in a year, starting with the fall, which starts in September, winter that starts in January, spring that starts in April, and then summer that starts in July. So it's 3 months every quarter. So you would start in January at Drexel and take courses each of those quarters. You have 3 options. One is you could do only courses and no co-op, and you could finish it in 9 months in the US. So by September, you're done with all your academic requirements. You do not have to choose or do co-op if you don't want to, and you can graduate with your master's degree. There is a co-op option which you can take, but it'll extend your time beyond the 9 months. So it'll be 9 months of academic coursework, and then you do a 6-month co-op, and then you graduate after co-op. The nice thing is when you are on co-op, you don't pay tuition fees to Drexel. Okay, so there is no tuition fees while you're working in a company doing co-op. The F1 visa that you get, it will include the co-op. So it is not a separate fees or a separate visa you pay. Everything is included in the F1 that you are going to get even before you come to the US. The third option is you come to Drexel, you do 2 quarters of coursework, and you take a summer vacation term. The summer vacation term will help you apply for co-ops, will help you do other research experiences that you have not had time to do. So students do a variety of things. Some students come back to India and surprise their parents in summer, which happened for a couple of SSN students this year. So, and then you do your co-op for 6 months. After the 6 months co-op, you come back and graduate in the spring term of the following year. So these are the 3 options you have based on your interest and whether or not you want to pursue a co-op or have a vacation term. You have these options available to you. The courses that you take at Drexel are extremely diverse in offerings. So that is available to you. We have many areas of concentration within biomedical engineering. There are about 7 or 8 areas of concentration. So we have biomaterials, tissue engineering, biomechanics, neuroengineering, bioinformatics, medical device development, pediatric engineering, and immune engineering or advanced therapeutics. So there are 8 different concentrations that you can choose when you do your MS in biomedical engineering. And the final degree that you will get is awarded by Drexel University. So this is not a joint degree. This is not a dual degree. This is a degree that is initially done in collaboration in terms of the execution of courses with SSN, but the final MS in biomedical engineering or MS in machine learning engineering is a degree that is awarded by Drexel University, which is no different than a traditional student who joins Drexel in the fall. The only difference is the amount of fees they pay. That's the only difference. So in terms of the courses you finish, you will be in the same classes from the 2nd semester onwards at Drexel with the students that started 1 semester before you at Drexel, but you would have done it here. They would have started at Drexel. That's the only difference. Also, the tuition fees, you only have to pay for 30 credits because the courses that you finish here for 10 credits will be transferred to Drexel. So 10 semester credits is equivalent to 15 quarter credits. So you pay the tuition fees for those 10 semester credits to SSN here. After you finish it, and if you've scored 7.5 or better, all those 3 courses will be transferred. The credits for those will be transferred to your Drexel degree, and you only have to complete the remaining 30 credits at Drexel. So the fees that you pay to Drexel is only for the 30 credits. And because SSN is a preferred institution, we are giving a 15% tuition discount for the cohort of students who are coming through this direct pathway MS program for biomedical engineering as well as machine learning engineering. So let me show you this slide, which kind of explains the actual cost. So for the 30 credits at Drexel, the cost is about $41,000. This is the cost as of this year. It may go up slightly or remain the same, but it's the cost per credit times 30 credits is this cost, $41,400. So it's about $1,300 and odd dollars per credit. The 15% discount that is guaranteed to all students coming through this program is about $6,200. So if you subtract that, your tuition burden is about $35,000. Okay, so this is the amount that you will have to show on your as a bank as a proof of funds when you go for your visa. Now imagine if you go through a traditional MS program, if the cost of tuition is $60,000 or $70,000 or $80,000, you have to show that amount as proof of funds or a loan amount or whatever it is that you're going to show as a proof of financial means when you go for a visa interview. Okay. On the other hand, because you only have to pay Drexel 35,000 and change dollars, it's not a small amount of money. It is still a lot of money. It's very expensive, but this is going to significantly be different if you do a traditional MS program, right? So you will have to show that. So this is your tuition burden, and this is what you will expect to pay Drexel. There are various opportunities that are made available to you to help offset this cost, high cost of tuition. This cost is not low. This is a lot of money. It's quite high. But to help offset this cost of tuition, we have a potential co-op opportunity. So co-op opportunity, how it works is when you come here to Drexel in January, all the students are enrolled in a 1 credit co-op 500 course. You don't pay for it. It's free. So this 1 credit course will prepare you to apply for a co-op and compete in this global market. So they will teach you how to make a resume. They'll teach you how to interview. They'll teach you the business etiquettes, how to dress up, how to go for an interview. They'll do mock interviews with you. They'll help you to navigate the portal that Drexel has for co-op jobs. So you can apply for co-op jobs. So this happens in the very first 3 months that you're there at Drexel, from January through March. The next 3 months, April through June, you are actually creating your resume, refining it, working with your co-op advisor. Everybody here will have a co-op advisor that is assigned to you when you start the program, even at SSN. So when you come there, this co-op advisor will work with you closely to review your resume, refine it, and fine-tune it so you're ready to apply for a co-op in July. So you will apply for a co-op starting in June or July. Over the next 3 months, you will interview, you will secure a position. If you don't secure a position in the round 1, there are 3 rounds. So you go through all 3 rounds in those 3 months. All 8 students from SSN got a co-op this year, right? So we have a 97% co-op placement. It is not guaranteed because it is a competitive process. You will have to apply. You will have to be well prepared. You will have to interview, and you will have to secure a co-op. It is not guaranteed, but there has been a huge rate of success for our students, and we prepare them well. It's important to understand that you may be the top 5% of your class. You may be the best students in your current class or your current department. But imagine when you go to a high-ranking program like Drexel. So Drexel, the biomedical engineering program, is in the top 10 in the country. The machine learning engineering program is in the top 20 or so in the country. So these are very highly ranked programs that attract highly ranked students. So you will find highly qualified, motivated, and talented students like you in your class. So your competition is no longer, the competition may not be what you're used to in your class here. It may be a little bit more. So you have to be thinking about upskilling your skills, upskilling and learning new skill sets. Okay, so to be more competitive in this global market, you're going to be seeing people from all over the world. There are students, international students from many, many countries that study at Drexel. So it's important to know that co-op jobs are available, but they are competitive. So you have to be a competitive applicant. So you must bear in mind when you come to the US that you're there to study, you will do really well, get skills that are employable, and be well prepared to face the co-op interview. So the co-op, on an average, it pays between $20,000 and $24,000, sometimes more. I just put $20,000 here to give you an idea. So that will further help offset this high cost of tuition fees. So the $35,000 that you pay to Drexel, if you get a co-op that get paid $20,000, it will help offset that cost. Most of the students work on campus when they are doing their academic courses. You are legally allowed by US immigration to work for 20 hours a week on campus. So there are many jobs available on campus. So these are in academic departments. These can be a research assistant, teaching assistant, tutorship, mentorship. It can be in an administrative department, such as a library and other administrative offices. you're an administrative assistant and so on. It can be in any of the shops on campus. So we have many restaurants, many shops, many computer shops and so on, bookstores. You can work there. Any on-campus employment is allowed. On an average, students can get paid about $10 to $15 per hour. So you can earn up to $9,000 or $10,000 in those 9 months that you're there doing your coursework. So that will help further offset the cost of tuition. Okay. So overall, if you once you get a co-op that pays you about $20,000, and once you get the on-campus employment that can pay you $9,000 or $10,000, you can expect to bring down the tuition that you paid Drexel. It helps offset. You have to pay the tuition, and then once you have this income coming in later, or while you are pursuing your master's, the income coming through the part-time job, it'll help offset that cost to almost less than $5,000 or less than $10,000 to earn a master's degree from the US with work experience. So I think that is quite a reasonable proposition. There are other benefits to this program. Like I said, we have partnered with only a handful of institutions in all of India to do this. SSN is one such institution in Chennai. The minute the students are admitted, you are also a Drexel student. While you're studying here at SSN, you are also a Drexel student, and you're also assigned an academic advisor. They will already plan your work of study, your plan of study for your program when you come to Drexel in January. They will plan it ahead even as early as August when you start at SSN. They will work with you for all the visa documents. Obviously, SSN has been exceptionally helpful and great, the faculty and administrators, in helping you through the visa process and bank finances and stuff like that. But Drexel will give you all the documentation that you need for the visa interviews. Drexel will also help you find housing even before you come to Drexel. So those 4 months that you're here, you're given academic advising for visa, advising for housing, advising for healthcare, insurance, and so on. So we will be there with you while you're here for those 4 months as well. And once you come to Drexel, obviously those resources are available to you in person, and it continues to be available to you. Okay. So that is how the program is structured. I don't think I have any additional information on this slide. The only thing I want to add is after you graduate, so the co-op is part of something called curricular practical training, or CPT. So curricular practical training is up to 1 year of work during your master's degree. So you can do a 6-month co-op. Let's say a company forces you to work for 1 year, you can do that too. Okay, you can continue to work for up to a year as part of the F1 visa. After you graduate with your master's degree, there is something called an OPT, which is the optional practical training. Since these fields, biomedical engineering, machine learning engineering, are STEM disciplines, you are eligible for up to 3 years of OPT. Yes. Yes, please. Thank you. Oh, thanks so much. Oh. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Kavita. So we can, so you will be eligible for also the OPT, optional practical training, for up to 3 years after you graduate to get a H1B sponsorship. So what students typically do is they work in a company once they have a full-time job offer, and they get a feel for the company gets an idea of how they are as an employee. If there's a good match, the company offers to sponsor an H1B visa, which is a work visa. Many of you may be aware of the H1B process, but you are eligible to stay in the US, work in the US before you start your H1B for up to 3 years. And that 3 years does not include the 1 year of CPT, where you do your co-op for 6 months or more than 6 months. Okay, so 6 months is required as a co-op. Was it a power outage?
Yes, it is.
We are still on, okay. But the 6 months does not eat into the 3 years that you have for OPT. So both are independent. So the 6 month of co-op is separate and additional to the 3 years of OPT that you will get after you graduate. Okay, so I just wanted to make that clear. And that is included in your F1 as well. You will have to apply for the OPT if you decide to stay in the US and work in the US. Alternatively, for students who want to come back, you don't need to apply. There is a small application fee for OPT if you decide to apply, if you want to stay in the US. If not, they can come back and work in India as well. So let me stop here and then I will take any questions. I can remain on this slide because this is a seminal slide. One other thing I want to say is every semester at Drexel, there are more than a dozen courses that you can choose from. Okay. Person A might be interested in a specific field and specific courses. So their selection of courses are going to look very different from person B, who may have a very different interest, although it is in the same field of biomedical engineering or machine learning engineering. So the courses are not set in stone. The course selections are customized based on the student's interest. And that's done very routinely. We have certain core courses that everybody finishes, and then certain concentration courses that are hand selected by the students based on their interest, and electives that are also hand selected. In addition to all those at Drexel, the 3 courses you finish satisfactorily at SSN are also transferred to get your Drexel degree. So I hope I was able to convey most of the things I wanted to convey. I think this is a good time for me to stop talking and maybe take questions. Thank you. So should we, Dr. Kavita, should we take questions from the live audience first or the Zoom audience? What do you prefer? Okay, so hello, Zoom audience. So I can't see the Zoom screen. Maybe somebody can coordinate. You can raise your digital hand on Zoom, and Amarnath or somebody can ask you to, unmute and speak your question, please. Okay, that's me. Okay, so I can see the participants now. Does anybody have any questions from the Zoom audience?
I think there are students from MS Ramaya Institute, Bangalore. Probably you can just mention the name of the college and then ask if they have any questions.
On Zoom?
Yeah.
Okay, so are there students from MS Ramaya Institute of Technology on Zoom? If so, do you have any questions? And even if you are students from other universities or institutions, if you have any questions, I doubt if I was so amazingly clear in what I said that you understood everything. I'll be quite impressed. So don't be shy. You can unmute and ask a question. Count of 3, 2, 1. I think they lost their chance. Yeah. Okay. All right. You know what? You guys can also hear questions from the live audience here, and maybe that will spark some new questions in your minds. All right. Let's open the floor for questions from the live audience here. Somebody has to help me point out if somebody is raising a hand. One second. Let me find you. Yes, sir.
I have a question, like with Trump being the president, right? Will that affect the process?
Okay, so Shakil's question was with Trump being elected the president who will start in January, and the US, will it affect the H-1B? I don't have a crystal ball, so I cannot fortune tell. But what I know is most countries understand that when you get talent from the world, you want to keep that talent. It is a colossal waste when you develop the talent and you lose them to other countries or send them back. So Trump understands it more than anyone else. He wants to keep talent. He wants to bring talent in a legal way. An H-1B is very legal way. So you will contribute to the economy by paying taxes. So these political parties, like everyone else, understand that they put economy over everything else. So they understand the value of talent. They understand your contribution to the economy. So I don't believe that it will have any impact on H-1B. In fact, it may be a positive one. They may want to retain you more because the jobs are also, the focus is to keep jobs and companies, manufacturing, research, innovation to happen in the US. How do you make those happen in the US if you don't have talent? So it's very possible that all the jobs and the markets will improve with the new administration, and hopefully with the with that, complementing that would be retention of talent that's developed in the US. Yeah, thank you. What program are you here in? The biomedical engineer. So you're one of mine. Okay. Any other questions?
While choosing a research assistant, what criteria will you take as the most important?
So Niveda, right? Niveda's question was, if you want to do a research assistant position, what are the criteria that faculty are looking for? Or what credentials are they looking for? I'm repeating your question for the Zoom audience. So it's a very research and a faculty specific question. So when you come to the US, once you settle down with your apartment and your housing, your course selection, everything, and then once you settle down with your classes, okay, and you feel confident that you have enough time to do well in your classes, that is when you should start thinking about doing research. Because research is an added experience. If it is going to affect your ability to do well in your courses, that can wait. Because it's going to take time away from the time you will spend on your coursework and your homework, assignments, research, projects, and so on for your courses, right? So given that when you're ready to do research, you will look at all the different labs at Drexel, even beyond biomedical engineering, in areas that interest you. And faculty like SSN are very approachable. So students walk into my office all the time and they send me an email all the time asking if I have any open positions, if I have any research projects they can contribute to. They send their resume. That's usually a good start. You send your resume and you highlight some of the skills you have gained in your undergraduate degree, any projects you've done that are relevant to my research, right? You're going to look for faculty and research labs that appeal to you and your skill sets and your interests. So it will become very obvious that, oh yes, so she has skills in, let's say, digital signal processing or segmentation or image analysis, whatever it is. If you are applying to a research position with those skills, they are going to want to have a conversation with you. So they'll invite you for an interview. They'll talk to you about what your skills are, what the project is, and how you can contribute and learn from it as well. And then if everything works out fine, then you have a research position. Not all research positions will start paying you on day one because they don't know your skill sets. It's not proven. There is no evidence of your skill set. So you may have to work for a few weeks before you are considered for any compensation or salary. Yeah. Did I answer your question? Okay. Any other question? I'm not coming here again this year. So this is the only time you get me, and I'm here to answer your questions. Please ask me any questions you have. I'm happy to chat. Dr. Kavita, anybody else?
I'm just going to help you there.
Yes.
Please have a seat.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's a chair. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can
Oh,
sit.
I should?
Yeah. So I'm just trying to compliment Dr. Sriram's very clearly put information. Practically, this is not a marketing strategy. I just want you all to understand that. We had a lot of experiences in sending students to the US, and since the costs were too high, We were seeing a few students finding it difficult to pay their loans back and then waiting to get their jobs over there, and many people requesting us, saying like, post-COVID particularly, mentioning that they were finding it difficult to manage with their financials and all that. And then came this particular opportunity where, our students who graduated from other colleges also, who were not finding positions in other colleges, Drexel was supporting them just because they have an association with us. That was something very nice of Drexel. I really wanted to mention it over here. And from day one, we've been not just Dr. Sriram, but we've been having even the Dean of Drexel Biomedical visiting us, having a very good, association with us. They've all been very friendly. And it's not just statement that he has been putting it over here that you will be handheld and then you will be supported with all that you want and stuff. They are really doing it. And I would say out of the 8 students who left in the first batch, almost 4 of them had their, research assistant positions, and they were earning during, and 2 were having their positions, but they started earning after some time. What was interesting was all the 8 students are now in co-op positions, and they were mentioning, they were mailing me very happily saying, one girl mentioned, I'm getting 30,000 USD. Can you imagine, ma'am? And all. That was really happy, to see such things, that a girl from a remote place in Tamil Nadu going over to Philadelphia and saying, I'm in Philly now, I will be working in NYC and all. That was really interesting to listen to. And what I'm really saying here is some kind of attachment and then commitment is there in the university for SSN and SSN students. So students who go through SSN, which support the students to find their placement, or what do you say, employment over there. And it's not compulsory in any US organization to find an employment. Like, they're not bound to give you any placement and all that. They don't have to prove that, like how India has right now become, the placement has come as a part of your education and all. It is not compulsory over there, but then they still take care of all these things, and then support is being provided. And it's a bigger university. Like principal used to say that foreign universities coming over here, believing in our standards and then taking the credits as such is really very good, which means SSN has proven its standards, and not just as such, but then they are actually increasing the credits, which means you don't have to pay for those 15 credits, and living costs for that first year is also coming down relatively, and that is very interesting. I was told by our students who went over there, saying with whatever money they've been getting from the research assistant position and all that, they were able to manage their living costs. And it was very comfortable for them to, it's not that only people who are not financially very good to have funds. Everyone will like to earn, right? So they were all feeling it they were feeling very comfortable in earning money while they were studying and while they were still having their graduation going on. And there's no break as such. There are 3 options, as you saw. So you can take up any 3, and all 8 of our students have taken co-op with summer break, and they are literally earning around 24,000 on an average. So 20 to 30,000 is what their co-op salary is right now. And I'm sure with Spark and all that right behind them, they will be in a position to find employment for most of our students. Because you're trained here with all innovation and that and startup culture, you will be good enough in getting placements over there in companies like Spark and all over. And you did not mention about the hospital over there, the Children's Hospital in Philadelphia. So you got a lot of options in working in a hospital environment also. And he's got a very big connection with, you were there in some position also, right? With yeah. So he's a big man, right? He doesn't say all that. He's got a lot of connects and a lot of support in terms of biomedical research, and then companies kind of employment. So I think it's a good opportunity. So I say nothing is being marketed here. It's a good opportunity that we really wanted our students to, or through SSN, to take up and then benefit from this. And if you really like it, we are here to help you. And the second batch has students there right now. We are supporting them with all the processes like, the visa and other I wanted to say the first batch when they went, before they went, they found out an apartment, and Dr. Sriram's, some faculty. Yeah, she went over there to that place. She saw the lease agreement and all that. She verified it, and then they signed it, which was something amazing from their side, to support in and out for all these procedures. So I think if you're interested, we are here to help you out in this process. And the students who come into BME or MLE programs will take up classes with the medical electronics and the computer science master students for the first semester. 3 courses have been already chosen for them to take up over here. And then they take all the credits, like 10 credits will be transferred as for 15 credits. And then you go over there in January and then do your, continue your master's. So that's it. We've been saying this again and again, but if you're really interested, please approach us. We will be helping you out in all the procedures, like right from applications to graduation.
That's right. So I'll thank you for bringing that to my attention. I forgot that. The cost of living
Yeah.
in Philadelphia, on an average, the cost of living, at least on paper, that you will have to show as proof of funds, I think it's about $17,000 for 1 year. But the actual cost is much less.
They have their exam.
Okay,
so
so run away. Happy examination time. So you can expect to spend about $800 a month for your cost of living in Philadelphia. Okay. Please feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Bye.
So can we just wind up this session, or you have any more questions? You can pose your questions. Yeah, there's one more question.
Yes.
How it was formed, is there any organization to follow or inform?
So in the US, we are all ABET accredited. So I don't know, are you ABET and NAC?
NBA accredited.
NBA accredited here. So in US,
He
all
knows that we are 6 years full accreditation department here.
right. So same with biomedical engineering and the College of Engineering for machine learning engineering. So we are all ABET accredited courses. The curriculum is very diverse, as I said, and it's also customizable. So we have so many. Actually, that's it could be something that's overwhelming for students from other countries, is that there is no set curriculum. As in the first semester, there are these 4 courses you take. There isn't like that. So there are 12 courses, out of which you can choose 3 based on your interest. And everything has been accredited, and it's pretty solid.
Yeah, there are many disciplines, and they have courses for all those disciplines. So biomedical engineering is not just biomedical engineering. They have specializations, and each specialization has have a few courses. You can choose courses, 3 courses every quarter from those specializations, and you can pay only for those credits. But you will have to complete 30 credits basically in the US to get a US degree. And that is really why you are expected to do more courses in US, right?
That's right. So you have to complete 2/3 of the degree in the US, which is 30 out of 45. So once you complete the 30 credits and we transfer the 15, it's a total of 45 credits that will earn you a master's degree. You must score a 3.0 out of 4 or better in each course that you take to pass the course. If you don't get 3.0 or better, you have to retake the course or take some other course. Yeah. And like Dr. Kavita said, there are many other institutions around Drexel. Interestingly, the students sometimes find research labs at Thomas Jefferson University or Children's Hospital of Philadelphia or Shriners Hospital or the Hospital of the University of Pennsylvania, Presbyterian, Shea Eye Hospital, Wills Eye Hospital. There are about 60 hospitals in the greater Philadelphia area. And there are about 10 higher education institutions and universities in the greater Philadelphia area. It is really an epicenter for higher ed and medicine, is what Philadelphia is known for. So if you're coming there for innovation and research in high tech and medicine and the biomedical disciplines, I think there is no better place than Philadelphia. Boston comes close, but it's extremely expensive.
Extremely cold.
And extremely cold also. So the weather in Philadelphia, I'm not a huge fan of global warming, but it has helped. It has not snowed much at all. Last year, it snowed 1 day. The year before, it didn't snow at all. So it is warming up. When I say warming up, it is not like Chennai. It's maybe in the 70s, 70 degree Fahrenheit. It's very, very pleasant. It's like Kodaikanal all the time. So it's very, very good. Nice weather. Do we have any other questions? So I have to echo Dr. Kavita in that this is not a marketing pitch at all. She's a professor. I'm a professor. This is what I do for my students. So we have the best interests of the students in mind. This program was created with students in mind to reduce the cost of the tuition, which we know is very high, and give an opportunity for students to gain work experience when they are pursuing masters, so they understand what's translational, what is actually employable and applicable to the real world, without which it's really impossible to know what you will do after you graduate. Okay. So I'm wearing this administrative hat, not to sell the program in any kind of marketing way, but to really communicate the benefits of the program. And I'm a full-time professor. I'm teaching 2 courses. As I'm here, I'm teaching in the night time on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, remotely for those 2 weeks that I'm here. So I do my research, my teaching, even when I'm here. So we are all academics at heart, but we want to share this about the program. Yeah. So you heard about the program. Just show of hands. How many are interested in this kind of a direct pathway MS program? We will not hold you and make you apply when you raise your hand. This is just for us to know what is the level of interest among the students that you're considering these programs. So how many are interested in applying for a direct pathway program?
I'm seeing a few hands. Good.
And how many
She's
of you?
thinking whether to lift or not.
Okay, so keep your hand up. It's okay. We will not hold you to it. Okay. Yeah. Keep one hand up. Which of those hands are also a final year student now? Lift the other hand.
Final years. There are 2.5 hands.
2.5 hands. Okay. All right. So we have some interested third year students as well, and some final year students who are obviously interested in doing a master's in the US and could consider this as an option as well, right? That's what I hear.
So those 2.5 students, if you really want us to help you, please get in touch with us. So it's your responsibility to come and meet us and then get things done and all that if you are interested. But we will definitely support you in every step.
Yeah. So this is still having the highest quality of education that you can potentially get in the US. Biomedical engineering graduate program is ranked number 3 in the US as an innovative and the most sought after by students through the college like career choice rankings. And we are ranked number 1 within Philadelphia for biomedical engineering. We are ranked better than the University of Pennsylvania, which is an Ivy League school. So when you look at programmatic rankings, biomedical engineering as a program was started in 1958. It is the oldest graduate biomedical engineering program in the country. The undergraduate program was started in 1998. It's 25 years old. So last year we celebrated 65-25. 65 years as a graduate research institute, 25 years as an undergraduate program. Machine learning engineering is part of the College of Engineering, which is also a very highly ranked program. It's offered through the Electrical and Computer Engineering Department, is the department that offers MLE.
Are there any MLE program seeking students, machine learning, computer science students here? Anyone?
I think they probably left
Yeah.
for exams.
Okay. So
Any other questions?
we can
This is your chance. Once I leave, you won't see me until you come to Drexel.
please. Your name?
What's your name?
Yeril?
Yeril Meena, okay. Certainly, I think those options are going to be available to students who want to work in industry.
For
and come back.
students.
Yeah.
It's also for students who want to take up, one semester at SSN and then go. It's open for everyone. Only that SSN students are truly direct pathway students. In the sense, you don't have an interview. if you qualify with your credits and all that, you can just directly walk in. Other students will have to write a written test, and then we will take up a personal interview, and then if they qualify, we will take them. So
this is a
if you're an SSN student, your doors are really open.
Yeah, so Errol Mina's question also was, can she work for 2 years after graduating before she starts the master's? Yes, whether or not you're from SSN, you work for a couple of years and you say that, you know what, I want to become poor again and I want to go back to being a student. I think you should do that. Yes. So my experience tells me personally that once you get into the job market and once life takes over, you will never go back to school. Trust me. Okay. Never seen it happen. Very, very rare. So if you want to do,
It happens now.
no, it happens
in
now.
India,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, we are
Rarely
having a
though.
few, we are having a few students in our own ME class who have been into working for 2 years, but then they really wanted to do masters, so they've come back and all that. And even our own
Okay.
students, they worked, the final year students who completed last year, they were working for a few months, and then after 6 months or so, they didn't want to work. Now they've started their application process.
In the US, it happens a little bit more because the corporate or your employer will fund it. They will pay for you to get a higher degree. And they will have something called a tuition remission where they pay part of it, you pay part of it, something like that. So that is more beneficial for US students, but for Indian students, that's news to me. That's good. But yeah, certainly you
They
can do
say
it.
they will earn something, keep some money, and then come back, but then I really doubt that. Once you start earning, you start spending. And again, you go in for loans and all that. So instead of wasting a year or two in the due course, it'll be nice. Because once you come back, getting into that student mode is difficult. That's what I've been told by the current students who have gone into the job and then come back and all that. If you continue to be in the same student mode, writing exams and assignments and all that comes to you easily. But you work for 2 months, 2 years, and then come back, you're a different person. Getting into that platform again is a bit difficult, but then I think it's not anything not common in our college.
So those options are available to SSN students that graduate from SSN, students that graduate from other universities that want to go through this program and start at SSN. It's very doable as well. Yeah. Thank you. Any other questions? Let's see how we're doing on time. So you have another 10 minutes before the session ends. We should never end early. Sessions like this. I want to make the best use of my time here.
So Dr. Sriram,
Yes.
I have a question, like after they finish this co-op and after they graduate, like how does Drexel support in employment directly or indirectly?
So once they finish, once they graduate, the Drexel, we have something called the International Students and Scholars Services, ISSS. They help with the transition for you to apply for that OPT, employment authorization, and you still have access to Drexel resources. You'll have a Drexel email address. You may have Drexel computing facilities and so on accessible to you for several months after you graduate while you continue looking for a job. And once you find a job, you pretty much, you're an autopilot. You start working with the job, you have the authorization and paperwork you need. You don't really need Drexel anymore. Universities only slow you down. So you want to finish as soon as you can and use the resources that are available to you and then go fly.
Very supportive, yeah. But
Yeah.
I know many organizations have career-based services and all,
Oh, I see.
but I really wanted to know how.
Okay. So we have almost 1 dozen. I'm not exaggerating. We have 1 dozen career fairs every year at Drexel. So these are both for undergraduate students and graduate students. So you're also welcome to participate in career fairs. Nowadays, career fairs, which are in-person career fairs, are only one of the many, many ways you can find a job. They will facilitate those interactions as well at Drexel. But beyond that, you will form networks through LinkedIn. You will form networks through our Steinbright Career Development Center, which manage co-op. And through your own co-op applications, if you apply to 10 jobs for your co-op, when the portal opens for you, you remember what those jobs were, and maybe when you're looking for a full-time job, you apply to those companies. So, yeah. Any other questions?
Sir, I'm Rakshana. Silly question. Are there any other scholarships that you offer apart from the paid versus?
Okay, so Rakshana's question is, are there any other scholarships that are offered to students in addition to the 15% discount? So the 15% discount is only offered to the preferred partnerships that we have, such as with SSN, which is a direct discount, and you see it directly. It's not something that is taken out later. So you don't pay that 15% right away. That is the only tuition reduction or discount that's offered to this cohort. Students that come directly to Drexel, they can apply to something called the Dean's Fellowship, okay, which is given to the highest GPA. So if you have, I don't know the exact cutoff, it may be quite high, 3.9 or better out of 4, right? Which is what somebody who's very good at math can convert it for out of 10. 3.9 out of 4 is how much out of 10? 8 point something, 9 something. 9.7 is it? Okay, thank you. So 9.7 out of 10, if you have, that converts to a 3.9 or 3.8. If you have that high of a GPA, you will get something called a Dean's Fellowship. And that is about a 20% or 25% discount, which is a fellowship. So it takes your tuition down, but that is for the entire, like the 45 credits of tuition fees. So you're paying 45 credits worth of tuition, which is close to $60,000, and it brings down your tuition fees by 20% or 25%, brings it down by about 12,000. Still, it's more expensive than this option. You may be eligible for other fellowships and scholarships through India, but from the Indian government or industry or corporations in India that support students to go abroad and study for your, based on your merit, and so on. You know, some people, if their parent works for a certain company, that company may provide a 10,000 rupees scholarship or 1 lakh rupees scholarship and things like that. Sometimes you may try to look for opportunities like that, but beyond the 15% discount, there is no added tuition discount for this cohort of direct pathway students.
It is almost 62,100 US dollars for the entire 45 credits. And even if you get 9.75 and above, it's a 20% reduction, which brings it to 49,000 something, which is again more than what you're supposed to pay for the 30 credits. Because and for the 30 credits that you pay, you already get an exclusive 15% reduction here because of SSN badge. So I think that's pretty much too many scholarships already.
So 2 things we didn't talk about actually. Good point. You brought this up, and thanks, Dr. Kavita. One is we didn't talk about the tuition fees that you pay to SSN in the first semester. So there is a tuition fees you pay directly to SSN. I don't know what that exact amount is. Dr. Kavita and administrators can tell you that information.
Right. We have somewhere around 1 lakh cut from the original rate. Scholarship, yeah.
Is offered by SSN.
So SSN management is already giving out of the actual payment, they're giving a 1 lakh slab already for that. And then they are taking it. So it is
So what is the tuition fees for the first semester at SSN?
1 semester.
Yes.
I think it's somewhere around 2.5 lakhs, right?
So 2.5 lakh rupees after the 1 lakh tuition
Sir, you have to compare it,
discount. Yes.
right? So many credits, 15 credits are transferred to US.
Yes. Yes. No. So
They would have paid so many dollars.
I completely agree. So cumulatively, if you pay 2.5 lakhs to SSN and you're paying $35,000 to Drexel for the 45 credits, it is still less than the 45 credits that you would pay directly to a university. Not just Drexel, any university is going to be significantly less. And they also offer a scholarship to bring down the cost to 2.5 lakhs for the first semester. The second cost that we didn't really discuss is the living expenses. If you go to the US, whether you come to Philadelphia or San Francisco or Boston, Chicago, you are still going to pay a cost of living to live, pay for housing, eat, and keep your cell phone and lights on. All those expenses are going to happen whether or not you go through this program at Drexel. So I didn't put it there, but on an average, you can expect to spend $800 to $1,000 a month. Typically, students share an accommodation. They rent a 2-bedroom apartment where 3 or 4 students live together and they share the cost of living, the expenses. It's very affordable. Philadelphia is probably the most affordable among all the big cities. So that's a good thing.
That information from senior school, I'm not there.
Mhm.
They'll give you the exact figures. I don't think it is $1,000 or so.
Oh, it's much less. They are probably paying, Indian students are so smart. They actually, there is a word in Hindi, it's called jugaad. Jugaad, na, how you optimize your life, right? So they do jugaad so well. Oh, by the way, good point. Drexel, I didn't know that. SSN students came and told me in January, February, they said, oh, Dr. Shri, Drexel has a civic engagement center somewhere where they were giving free grocery to every student. Okay, you are a Drexel student, you show your ID card, they give you 15 items every week, which is milk, bread, and whatever, eggs, meat, whatever you want, right? It's all there. So I didn't know about this. They said there are 4 students in a house, let's say. 15 items is a lot. Okay, each student can get 15 items, and they pretty much lived for free. They didn't pay anything. They came and told me. I didn't know about it. I've been at Drexel for 14 years. So, it's very smart. These kids, they know what they're doing.
Yeah, SSN brought up.
That's right. That's right. I think it's in the Chennai water or something.
Culture.
SSN water. Tiruporur water.
It's amazing. It teaches you everything. We learn a lot from them.
Yeah.
How to be smart.
So there are so many resources like that. There's a big Indian community, by the way, very vibrant Indian community. There is a ISKCON temple where you can go free food on Sunday. Exactly. Every Sunday you can go for free food for other cultures. So many Indian communities. The diaspora is everywhere. So you can have a nice time, engaging in cultural events. There is a very nice graduate student association, international graduate association, who have different cultural events with Pongal. They celebrated Pongal. These kids came in January. 2 weeks later, they're celebrating Pongal. I'm like, hey, why don't you invite me for these things, So they're celebrating Pongal. They're celebrating Tamil New Year, April, Pudu Varsha Porappa and everything. It's amazing. They were celebrating Diwali. They were jumping in the snow and making snow angels. They get the best of both the worlds, US and India. They really had a good time. Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much for your attention. They can stop the Zoom meeting.